It's Boston Celtics playoff basketball, live on Channel 56. Tonight, it's Game 3 of the NBA first round, and the Celtics are in New York to meet the Knicks. Tonight's game will be brought to you in part by Miller Lite's Tour Delight, the bicycle race across America to win America's favorite light beer. Your Chevy dealers of New England start where more people end up. Buy a Chevy today. By Citgo, the sign of quality. By Shawmut, where you'll find bankers who can help you meet your financial needs at more than 200 locations across Massachusetts. And by New England Telephone, we're the one for you, New England. New England Telephone. And by McDonald's, where it's always a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Welcome to Madison Square Garden in New York City for Boston Celtics basketball. Tonight, Game 3 of the best-of-5 first-round NBA playoff series between the Celtics and the New York Knicks. Hello again, everybody. Mike Crispino along with Bob Cousy as the Celtics try to close the Knicks out. And they've had 4 days to contemplate that record-breaking beating back on Saturday afternoon in Boston Garden. We expect them to play with emotion and with great pride tonight. What do you expect from them strategically?
Michael, I'll tell you, on this level, humiliation is followed with high intensity, so expect extreme aggressiveness, trapping defenses, fights, whatever it happens to be. I mean, the media has been thrashing these poor people for 4 days now. Their paychecks have been withheld. The coaches had them on bread and water. I mean, these guys are going to be killers. The Celtics must respond to this with cool, not necessarily laid back, but poise, a veteran team. Take the additional pass. Don't obviously panic. Good shot selection. Don't take fall-away shots in the paint. Take it to them. Let them know you've come to play, but don't necessarily match that intensity immediately. But at some point, the Celtics will have to take their stand.
So patience will be one of the keys for the Celtics, and the natives here are restless. They do not want to see the basketball season end tonight. Now, earlier tonight, I had a chance to talk with Jimmy Rogers, Celtics coach, a preview of Game 3. It's been an eternity, it seems, since Game 2 and Game 3 in this series, Coach. I wondered at this point if you think maybe the NBA schedule maker should have tightened it up a little bit so the Knicks wouldn't have had so much time to forget about what had happened Saturday afternoon at Boston Garden.
Well, Mike, we've had as much time off as they have, and maybe it was an eternity for you, but for us, I thought we had an opportunity to not only get a little bit of rest, but we put together a couple of good practices, and we know that we can't worry so much about what New York is all about. I think we have to continue to try to improve as a team, and that's what we're going to try to do here tonight.
Was that a fluke Saturday? You shot 67% phenomenally, 46 assists. Are the Celtics this good, or are the Knicks that bad?
Well, I've said right along, I think the Knicks have one of the most talented teams in the league, and I still feel that way. I think that over a long period of time now, and I say a long period, a month and a half or so, we have obviously been playing some excellent basketball, and Saturday we had all cylinders were clicking, and you know, I think at this time of the season, that's what it takes to survive. And that's the way we look at it right now. You know, we have to continue to play at a very, very high level against this basketball team. We're on their home floor now. We know they're emotionally going to be very high tonight. And we have to fight fire with fire. We've got to come out probably with our best game.
We have heard a number of different strategies being tossed around the city today. They'll go to Ewing every time. They'll full court press for 48 minutes. What do you expect to happen tonight?
Well, we've seen a little bit of everything so far in the previous 2 games, and I don't really know exactly what they'll do on a sustained basis, but we know they will go to Ewing, and we know they will apply pressure, and we know they will try to up-tempo the game. Maybe not throughout 48 minutes, but I think at some time or another we're going to see all of those approaches. And I think at this stage of a playoff, you know, you have to learn by what you previously experienced and then try to build on that. So hopefully we'll be prepared for whatever they throw at us.
Quick final question. Are the Celtics hungry enough? They're up 2-0 now. This is a desperation game for the Knicks. They may be more motivated emotionally to win this thing.
I feel we're starved. I think going into this game, you know, we've had a season where our team, our guys have worked extremely hard through a number of adversities this season. They worked very hard to get where we are right now, and I have to believe that we're coming in this with a feeling of starvation, and that's the way we've got to approach it. We've got to come out hungry, and try to put something together here tonight.
All right, let's see if it happens. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Bob and I will be back with the starting lineups and the opening tap after these messages. Crispino and Bob Cousy back here at Madison Square Garden, where the Celtics will try to completely sweep the New York Knicks tonight. It will not be easy. The Celtics, Cousy, have been playing some great basketball over the past few weeks. 18 wins in their last 22 ball games. Among the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the NBA right now. On the other side of the ledger, the Knicks have lost 18 of their last 23. Is it difficult or more difficult to try to turn it around at this point in the season?
Yeah, I would think some radical adjustments are necessary, and frankly, I agree with some of what's been written in the press in terms of, in the short term, what do you do immediately to get their attention? They said a reversal back to the Patino philosophy, helter-skelter, trap all over, 94 feet of defense and up-tempo and all. This would dilute to some degree Ewing's impact in the half-court game, but frankly, I think Patrick can be effective in either setting, and I agree that in the short term, probably reverting back to Patino's philosophy makes some sense. Not only that, Michael, but it's easier to create an emotional response, in an up-tempo situation. If you stay in controlled and half-court game, it's hard to get the defensive response and the backboard response that Jackson absolutely is going to need tonight out of these Knickerbockers.
There was some talk about Stu Jackson starting Mark Jackson perhaps tonight to ignite a fire early with a full court press against the Celtics. However, he's going with the same starting lineup the Knicks used in the first two ball games, except that Charles Oakley should be in the starting lineup tonight. Although I saw Kenny Walker coming out. We'll see how they're going to play it. The Celtics have been sensational in the first two games. They are the most potent team in the playoffs in terms of points scored, as you just saw there. Stu Jackson still looking for his first victory as a head coach in the playoffs. 0-2 in his first year as coach of the New York Knicks. 34 years old. Contemplative sort of guy, a quiet sort of guy. But I would think in the past 4 days, Cousy had to turn it up a little bit and get this Knicks team fired up for this ball game.
Well, that's one advantage, of course, of having the 4 days. The downside is that they've had to absorb all that negative reaction. The pressure is intense on everyone. They're speculating that Al Bianchi's job, the general manager, hangs in the balance of this tonight's game. Stu Jackson, obviously, the coach, is always the guy that's responsible when a team doesn't do well. I agree with his long-range philosophy as opposed to Patino. We talked a moment ago. But however, tonight, I think they should revert back. But in the next 3 to 5 years, Patrick, we talked about, he would be effective in any style. He is so skilled, so much talent that in the up-tempo he can be very effective. At crunch time as a go-to guy, he can get the job done. He doesn't necessarily have to average 28 or 29 points a game to be a key figure. His contribution, obviously, is defensively and on the backboard. So, they've got enough offensive power to surround him with to make them effective, but I think their skills are better suited to that up-tempo game than to the controlled tempo and half-court game.
It seems to me it might be difficult for the Knicks to completely turn it around and get back into that full-court running game after spending the whole season working on a half-court game.
Well, guys at this level can make that adjustment, but that's why it was suggested that they start Jackson and Newman and Oakley, who have worked out of it last year. I agreed with that, too. It wouldn't do any harm, but there's your officials, all veteran officials, and I'll tell you, I think they're going to need 3 cool and poised officials out here tonight as well.
Charles Oakley has been whipping his teammates verbally. We need to rebound. We need to help and play defense. Let's stop them first, then worry about scoring second. Let's see how it goes. Ewing immediately into McHale, draws the foul.
Okay, Michael, you can expect Ewing to do that, if not the first half, throughout the game. Get it, be aggressive, take it to the paint, try to intimidate and be physical with Parish. I think the Celtics, they've trapped down only occasionally in the first 2 games. I think in order to neutralize this early burst, they've got to send someone down here immediately. Double down on Patrick and try to get him away from this aggressiveness and obviously getting off to a good offensive start.
Ewing averaged 31 points, 10 rebounds a game in the regular season. In these first 2 games against the Celtics, 25 points and 8 rebounds. Second one up and missed, and maybe a little extra adrenaline flowing for Ewing there, Coos, as he misses his first 2 free throws, and we remain scoreless.
And that's where it'll show up at the free throw line. If you're up a little tight in a game that is as important as this one is for the Knicks.
McHale down to Parish, wants to work on Oakley. Backs him away. Rainbow for 2. Robert Parish took advantage of Oakley there. Here comes Cheeks all the way, laid it up and in. Aggressive drive by Maurice Cheeks, 12-year veteran out of West Texas. And we're tied at 2. Dennis Johnson and Cheeks will match up in the backcourt. Wilkins and Lewis, and Reggie Lewis has been having a field day on Gerald Wilkins early. Here's Larry Bird, knocks it down.
The Bird-Vandeweghe matchup should work in the Celtics' favor, as it already has. Vandeweghe, a fine offensive player. There's a lot to be decided defensively. Bird with the steal.
Ewing, who dished at that time, had Oakley open momentarily, but Bird intercepted. So Bird starts out on Oakley, it looks like, and McHale will work on Vandeweghe.
The Knicks are going to be looking to make things happen. The Celtics, there's the Bird attempt at the steal. Good diving move to the ball. Couldn't quite control it.
Baseline, Ewing, short, rebound, Parish. Robert has been doing an excellent job of cutting off that baseline jumper by Ewing so far in this series, and that time he had a hand in his face. McHale turnaround, got it.
Celtics are shooting very loose. 3 for 3.
McHale has been sensational in this series so far, averaging 26 points a game and 9 rebounds. 22 of 30 from the field so far. Ewing wants to go on Parish. Inside, strong move, no call. Robert got the board. Looks for the outlet and has Dennis Johnson.
Ewing is pressing. He's trying too hard.
Robert inside, banked it.
Beautiful.
Celtics taking advantage of Patrick Ewing. Coming down court late. It's 8-2 Boston. Here's Cheeks driving for a bank.
They're all trying to do it themselves, however. That's what's going to work against the Celtics. Excuse me, against the Knicks, and worked in the Celtics' favor.
Oakley tried the intercept, deflected out of bounds, and here's a look. Patrick Ewing working here on the baseline against Robert Parish.
See, there's nothing there. Robert does a good job at taking away the baseline. There's the first Celtic miss.
Cheeks on the run.
Yeah, they want to run. They want to push it down quickly.
Vandeweghe goes by Bird. That brings him out of their seats as Vandeweghe's quick first step led to a jam. 8-6 Boston.
The difference offensively for the Knicks is they're not waiting for the half court. All of them are taking it to the paint with individual moves.
Bird shakes loose for a moment. Now goes to Parish. Oakley steps in, knocks it loose. And that's what Charles Oakley was talking about this week. Get after it.
Well, that's where here's the Vandeweghe move, just blows by Bird along the baseline. Bird doesn't have the speed to stop that, but he can position himself. That's a walk.
Kevin got caught by Hugh Hollins, the extra step.
They have put Ewing, by the way, on McHale and Oakley on Parish to start. Let's see how long that lasts.
8-6 Boston, 9-10 left first quarter. Madison Square Garden is a buzzing as the Knicks fans try to keep it alive. Backdoor, Wilkins beat Lewis. We're tied at 8, so an 8-2 Celtic lead is gone, and we're tied. Under 9 minutes left. Lewis inside, off balance, missed. 5 white jerseys on the board, and they nearly lost it.
They're over-hustling, you know, they're up too high. And sometimes that can work against you, although certainly not on defense or the backboards. You can't work too hard in those 2 areas.
Here comes Ewing, drew the contact. It was before the shot, says Ed Rush.
Boston double charge to Robert Parish.
Robert Parish, his first personal. Here's a look. I tell you, he's a load to keep off that glass. Watch him go.
Well, Robert's been effective in keeping him out of the block and away from the position he wants. But this time, Ewing is fighting back for the position he prefers.
Gerald Wilkins has given the Knicks their first lead at 10-8. Bounce to Bird, wants to shoot it. Back to Dennis Johnson. Celtics patient now, setting it up, want to get Parish to work on Oakley. And here we go. It's a foul call on Charles Oakley.
the first foul on the Knicks, despite the intensity of their play, and that invariably will happen. When you lift your level defensively, you'll get more fouls called on you when you're loafing than when you're working at it. DJ.
Dennis Johnson's fadeaway ties it up, and it's 10-10 with 8 minutes left, first quarter. Vandeweghe now on McHale. Tries to go on him. Kevin cut him off. Behind the pick, Oakley launches, top of the key, in and out. And the rebound, Dennis Johnson.
Well, if they can get Oakley taking him from outside, that shouldn't do the Celtics any harm. You're getting him out of the paint, and he's obviously not a good outside.
Oh, what a move by Parish. 6 early points for the Chiefs.
Celtics have responded to this implied challenge very well.
Ewing answers.
Again, an example of Ewing fighting for that position in the paint that he wants rather than allowing himself to be pushed away.
Bird answers over Ewing and then fires a couple of verbal barbs back at him.
It's interesting, despite the intensity of the defense on the part of both teams.
Bird with a block.
Yes, good help.
Here's Parish. Lewis didn't see him. Now Bird does, but it's too late.
Little anxious to make that pass to Parish. Bird knew he had to step on the field, but Cheeks, with excellent pursuit, got back and interrupted the play.
7 minutes remaining, first quarter. Celtics 14, Knicks 12.
Yeah, the offense is dominated despite the aggressive defense that both teams are playing.
Ewing sets up shop, wants to go, spins, gets Parish off his feet, missed the shot. Looked like contact.
Yeah.
And Robert got away with one there.
A lot of contact. Good fake by Ewing.
Here's Bird posting up, cross to McHale, wants to work on Ewing. Inside, missed the shot, got the rebound. Lewis chases it down, and it's Boston's ball. And we have a timeout on the court. 6:34 left first quarter. Celtics 14, Knicks 12. And we'll be back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. Catch all the action, passion, and romance when Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Broderick, and Rutger Hauer star in Lady Hawk. 8 o'clock tomorrow night on WLVI 56. This copyright program presented by the authority of the NBA and the Celtics, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written permission of the NBA, the Boston Celtics, and WLVI TV is prohibited. Some hot shooting here in the first quarter so far. 7 of 10 for the Celtics, 70%. Knicks at 6 of 12 for 50%.
The Celtics actually have handled the pressure well and been very alert in terms of their shot selection. That's why they're shooting so well, and they've been aggressive in terms of taking it in. The Knicks have been aggressive as well, but it's caused their offense to be a little ragged.
Dennis Johnson's jumper, got it. So DJ makes him pay there. He's got 4 points as another switch off. That time Wilkins picked up on Larry Bird as the Celtics came down. The Celtics have hit 5 in a row now, and they lead by 4, 16-12. Wilkins threw it away. Parish picks up the loose ball, hands it to Dennis Johnson now. Bird up the right side, lines it up for 3. Yes!
It's still early, but the Celtics handling the pressure of this very necessary game so far.
Cheeks pull up, Bird rips the board down.
Yep.
19-12, a 7-point lead, and they have quieted the crowd, Cousy, which came out fired up. Here's Parish, wants to go on Oakley and a travel call. Robert hands it over nicely to Hugh Hollins.
Robert pushed out a little bit further than he'd prefer to be that time. And the smaller but more mobile Oakley will do that to him. Ewing would allow him to get a little closer to the basket initially.
Cheeks looking for Oakley. Now they work the perimeter. Gerald Wilkins. Vandeweghe has the jumper. Missed it. Good rebound by Ewing. Tries to go baseline to Oakley. It's loose. Charles Oakley charging down and hands it off. It's a loose ball. Dennis goes down hard, but Cheeks has the loose ball.
Wow. Are these teams sky high or what?
Wilkins baseline, hands it back to Ewing. Long jump for 2.
And that interrupts an 11-2 run that the Celtics had going.
19-14.
Gotta like the effort of Dennis Johnson right there, I'll tell you. Hugh Hollins whistled, and let's see what we have here. A wet spot on the floor near half court where Dennis went down and belly flopped.
Yeah, good idea. When the teams are working this hard at it, a wet spot can do more damage than if they're just gliding through it.
And Ed Rush gives the Celtics 2 more seconds on the 24, and that's 18 to work with. So Dennis Johnson works on Cheeks baseline. Wants to post him. Fakes him. McHale's open. 20-foot. Miss. Rebound, Ewing.
Isolation on DJ brought
Bird with a great help for the rebound. Wilkins, and he's fouled.
Bird is helping everywhere defensively, and he's so quick to the ball that it has caught Ewing and that time Cheeks by surprise.
That's his first and the team's third.
It is. Cheeks comes in and is able to push DJ out of the play, but is unaware of Bird coming over. And Bird's timing and his instinct is so refined, you know, that he can catch you by surprise when he decides to help out that way. The Knicks 0 for 3 now from the line, so the pressure of the game seems to be affecting them considerably, frankly, and the smoothness of their offensive perfection, and also from the line.
Well, they felt they lost the game in Boston, game 1, because of their free throw shooting, and you could make an argument for that. They shot 62%. They are at zip right now, 0 for 4 so far. And every point counts, as you know. Game 3, best of 5. Celtics would like to end it here. Lewis tries to go inside, regains his dribble, puts it up, and got the roll.
Beautiful, beautiful penetration by Lewis, avoiding the pressure from 2 perimeter defenders, and then running smack into Patrick and wafting it over his outstretched arm.
21-14, a 7-point Celtic bulge. Cheeks wants Ewing, goes down to him. Klein in place of Parish. Tries to fake Joe up, and then a strong move that time on the bank shot for Ewing. He's got 6.
Good job by Klein. He did defensively about all that could be done. Patrick just beat him with a fine power move.
That ball kicked out of bounds that time as Gerald Wilkins came over to help out. You heard Jimmy Rogers before the ball game saying, "We are hungry." Starved to win 3 in a row against New York. Celtics would like to end it right here. Here's Bird off the pick. Has the jump shot off balance, but yeah.
Bird is on fire early.
9 for Larry.
Nicely, huh?
9 for Bird. Here's Vandeweghe. They go down to Ewing. Baseline jumper for 2.
I'll tell you what, Michael, they're forcing Patrick to low percentage fall away shots, but he's simply now responding and making those very difficult shots.
23-18. McHale tries to work on Ewing, and the ball out of bounds. Patrick had him hooked nicely, and Kevin couldn't get to it. Here's Klein and Ewing on the other side.
You can see Klein fighting him for that position in the blocks there and doing a good job. Then when he gets it, forcing him away from the basket, but Patrick beating all the pressure.
Gerald Wilkins wants to take it inside, draws 4 defenders, kicks it out to Ewing, who goes inside, and he's fouled.
I'll tell you, Ewing's trying to dominate this game all by himself, and he's not doing a bad job of it. Although the Celtic team approach offensively has been more effective so far than the individual approach by the Knicks. Wilkins has not been effective, by the way.
First foul on Bird. That's 4 on the Celtics now as a team with 3 minutes left here in the first quarter. And Ewing connects on the Knicks' first free throw of the ball game. He's 1 of 5, or the team is 1 of 5. He is 1 of 3 so far.
Where the Knick pressure has been effective is on turnovers. Boston has turned it over 4 times to only once for the Knicks.
23-20, a 3-point Celtic lead. Under 3 minutes remaining, first quarter. Bird to McHale, who has Ewing drawn way out away from the hoop, looking for some help. Off to Lewis for his jump shot. No. Ewing clears the board. Cheeks pushing it. Here's Wilkins in the paint. Laid it up.
That's what the Knickerbockers absolutely must do in order to complement their half-court game. We saw Patrick get 52 points the last time we were here, and that still didn't do it. So they must create up-tempo baskets.
Dennis wants to go on Cheeks, up fakes him, gets the contact, and missed the shot. Excellent head fake by Dennis Johnson, and he will shoot 2 when we come back after this timeout from Madison Square Garden. Celtics by 1. Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Broderick, and Rutger Hauer share the adventure of a lifetime in Lady Hawk. 8 o'clock tomorrow night on Boston's movie station, WLVI 56. Mike Crispino and Bob Cousy here at Madison Square Garden in New York City. 2 minutes, 19 seconds left in the first quarter. Celtics led by as many as 7 on an 11-2 run early in the quarter. Now the lead is 1 as Patrick Ewing lifts himself up off the bench. Ewing has had a big first quarter with 10 points. But on the other side, Coos, Bird and Parish are shooting the lights out too.
Well, we said on top, Michael, that the Celtics would have to counteract the expected increased defensive pressure on the part of the Knicks with good shot selection and the additional pass. And that's what they've done. Everyone in the starting 5 is on the board. But Bird and Parish have been especially effective. 7 for 8 combined. Bird 4 for 5 and Parish 3 for 3. Knicks, Celtics are shooting it at 69% despite the intensive defensive pressure. So that's a good sign.
And people continue to marvel at Dennis Johnson. 6 points in this ball game. Dennis has been just sensational in the first 2 games of this series. Here's Oakley, hands it to Cheeks. Back to Oak. They'll give him that one. Puts it up. Hit it.
Well, looked a little better that time on it. Oakley's on the board for the first time.
1 point Celtic lead. Under 2 minutes left. And a carry by Dennis Johnson. Pressure that time by Johnny Newman, forced a turnover.
Newman, an extremely quick swing man that the Celtics have had a great deal of difficulty dealing with. 5 turnovers now for the Celtics. Newman is averaging 21 against them in the 2 playoff games.
Ewing wants to go on Klein. Charges inside. Hooks and did not get the roll, but they got the tip from Oakley.
Oakley, an extremely dangerous offensive rebounder. They're going full court with their pressure now. It has not been effective.
And you can hear how it uplifts the crowd as Klein just beat the time. The Celtics will regroup, but they've got 10 seconds to get a shot off. McHale hands to Dennis Johnson. Shot clock down to 5. Dennis has got to gun it from long range. Immediately, the pressure causes a bad shot.
Yeah, the half-court pressure wasn't working, so he extended full, and in the first couple of times down, it's had positive results for the Knicks.
Newman does not take the pick from Ewing. Now he's stuck out there dribbling, hands it to Wilkins, and the shot clock down to 5 for the Knicks. Wilkins inside, Reggie blocked him. Ewing has to pump it up at the buzzer. No. Bird comes off with a rebound.
And
so the Celtics.
Yes, they answer with a good defensive set themselves.
McHale.
Ewing picks up his first, the 3rd team on the Celtics with 44 seconds left on the Knicks. Excuse me.
You can see Kevin's eyes widen as he found himself wide open on the right wing, and Bird found him. However, there was one man to beat, and he was 7 foot tall.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty on the part of either player, frankly. Patrick really didn't set himself to go after the shot, and Kevin didn't do much to avoid it.
To look at Dennis Johnson and where Bird stands on the all-time Celtic playoff list in terms of points, McHale and Parish up there in the top 15, and when you consider all the great ones that have played for this franchise, that's quite an accomplishment.
I should have been up there in terms of most shots taken in playoffs.
Newman with a bomb, but Oakley fights off Bird, and he'll get a foul call.
And I'll tell you what, that is the 6th offensive rebound for the Knicks, as opposed to none at this point for the Celtics. Newman, who has this kind of range and who was given the green light last year with Patino, demonstrates at least his style, but Oakley takes him off the hook with his 2nd good offensive rebound. Stu Jackson is still stewing, obviously.
They call him Rodin the Thinker down here. His wife's a psychiatrist, and somewhere toward the middle of the season, Stu had to have a few informal sessions, he said, to try to get his head clear from what was going on.
I can vouch for it. This game will do that to you.
Oakley misses a free throw, and the second one is off, too. So the Knicks hurting themselves from the charity stripe.
6 for 8 misses. 2 for 8.
Bird's jumper is flowing beautifully so far. Larry now with 11 in the first quarter.
Bird is about 5 for 7, I believe.
Bagley in the game for Dennis Johnson. It's McHale, Paxson, Bird, and Klein right now for the Celtics.
Check that. 5 for 6 on the field for Bird.
Here's Newman. And Klein blocked him, but Ewing got it back. Now he puts it up off balance and knocks it down. So they caught a break there.
Celtics doing a fine job defensively.
Bird nearly lost it out of bounds. Saved it. And Bagley's shot much too short. But the Celtics have played him even for 12 minutes here at Madison Square Garden. And after one, it's Boston 28, New York 28. We'll be back with the second quarter after these messages on the WLVI Celtics Network. Back at Madison Square Garden in New York, that's Larry Bird, Mike Crispino, and Bob Cousy here. The Celtics have tied them after one at 28 apiece. And talking to Bird earlier this week, he said, let's hang in there. Let's keep it even or close at half and see what happens in the second half and find out if those long outside shots drop under the intense pressure of having to win the third game of the series.
There's your shooting percentage. Celtics in clear control so far, despite the fact that the quarter was even. The Celtics handled the pressure very well in terms of shot selection. The only areas they were on the downside were in terms of offensive rebounding, their own, and keeping the Knicks off the ball. That man there, Charles Barkley.
Oakley, I'll tell you what, he just hammered Bird to the ground and got away with one.
He's going to do that. They're going to be out there trying to intimidate, and that's the gentleman who can do it. A very strong presence under there. Watch him. He throws his body in there, knocks Bird off the floor. Yeah, the other area they were a little down on were turnovers, but the increased pressure offensively, I think, has hurt the Knicks. They haven't handled it smoothly.
Here's McHale, puts it up over Ewing and hit it. Well, Kevin McHale has a little bit of a more difficult task shooting over Patrick Ewing. Back the other way, Newman answers his first bucket of the ball game. He averaged 16 a game against the Celtics. Here's Bird's jumper, and it does not go on the rebound. Oakley outlets to Ewing, or rather Newman, who tries to back Bagley down. It's loose, a kick ball. And the Celtics will have it 30-30, 10:57 left in the second quarter, and Reggie Lewis will check in for Jim Paxson.
I'll tell you, Michael, the concern that making the quick switch from slow down to up tempo for the Knicks in one game seems to be accurate because they haven't handled the up tempo game all that well, you know, as Newman just demonstrated there. Other than that one transitional basket that they picked up, I think, by Wilkins, hasn't really produced those kind of results for them.
Hugh Hollins with a foul call on Johnny Newman, who was holding on to Jim Paxson that time. So Bagley and Paxson will work in the backcourt. Lewis, McHale, and Parish up front for the Celtics. The much maligned Celtics backcourt been shooting well in this series. Dennis Johnson 2 of 3 tonight, and they are 23 of 31. So the Celtics guards doing an excellent job. Here's Lewis left alone, 15-foot off balance. Oakley clearing house down there. Help Ewing get the board, and here comes Newman. Blocked by Bagley.
Fine defensive job by John Bagley after Newman appeared, had, if not beaten Jimmy Paxson, had taken him. There's the quick outlet. As you can see, they're looking to run. Newman has it into the basket, but the good pursuit by Bagley takes it away from him.
Ewing wants to go on Parish. Spins, baseline, up fake. Shot, miss. Lewis with the board, and he's way up there for it. And a foul again on Newman.
The increased defensive pressure on the part of the Knicks, second team foul, by the way, second on Newman, seems to be forcing into a lot of errors that, as the game progresses, could work against them.
Celtics have 6 block shots already in this ball game. We're tied at 30. Things have slowed down considerably here in the second quarter. McHale wants to work. Here's the double team, looking for help. Out to Paxson, and a travel called on Kevin.
Well, Kevin's normally accustomed to getting the trap pressure down in the paint. That time he got it on the top of the key. I think that's what threw him off. He expected just to have to deal with Patrick. Here comes Cheeks over quickly. Of course, Cheeks will blindside you. He's got that kind of instinct and quickness.
Trent Tucker in the ball game now. Oakley, Ewing, Cheeks, and Newman. Ewing wants the inside. The hook over Parish. Good defense, but Ewing scores anyway, and he's got 14.
They're doing a good job. They're making Patrick work for it.
Great pass by Paxson, inside and counted.
Yes, Jimmy Paxson sets that up beautifully for McHale.
He drew the defense inside and took it off, passed it off to McHale. Here's Ewing on the other side of the court. It's pretty much unstoppable when Robert Parish is up as high as he can go, and he still scores it.
Michael, the benches normally shrink during the playoffs for obvious reasons. You know, the coaches may experiment with 10, 11 guys during the season. Obviously, when it comes to playoff time, they get down to 7 or 8. Tonight, reasons you're aware of, the Celtics are going to, the Knicks are probably going to have to stick with 7 or 8 guys. So in terms of how deep the Celtics go, this could make a difference. You know, in other words, it's going to put the pressure on the Celtic bench to perform against first-string players more than they normally would.
Jim Paxson will shoot 1 shot. McHale's bucket counts. Paxson goes to the line and misses, and the loose ball tracked down by Ewing. Tied at 32, 9:30 remaining. Second quarter. Game 3 of the best of 5. Here's Ewing, wants Parish. This time goes left-handed for a little dip, and it goes.
I'll tell you what. I said a moment ago, Patrick was working for everything he was getting, and he's gotten a few. He's already got 16 points and going to the line for 17.
I haven't seen this move yet, Cousy, from him.
Robert predicted that he was going to work extremely hard defensively and force the big man to make it happen, and that's exactly what he's doing.
17 points, 10 rebounds by Ewing.
Normally he likes to wheel across from the right.
And a steal. Tucker out of the field. You can forget about that.
That's where the full court pressure could make a difference against the Celtic backcourt people.
Cross court to Paxson for the jump shot. Gotta hit that one, and Jimmy does. That's a way to quiet the crowd.
Yeah, Baggs answered nicely by drawing the pressure away and then finding the free man on the weak side and going to a shooter.
Here's Ewing. They collapse on him this time. Hangs in the air. Did not get the roll. But Kenny Walker working on the offensive board, and the Knicks get it again.
See, that's what Patrick wants. He wants to swing from the left side through the middle.
I'll tell you what, he is using every fake in the book right now. Robert Parish, to his credit, is staying on his feet for the most part.
See, you got to give
Baggs, I think, dribbled himself into trouble there.
Baggs, yeah, he should have looked up and got rid of it. Once you see 2 people, you know, find that free man, which he did the next time down.
McHale has Walker. They'll try to go to him immediately, and they do, but he's double-teamed, and Tucker gets called for a foul.
See, give the Knicks, obviously, a goal star for hustle and work ethic, but it's not controlled, you know. It's out of control, and it's as destructive as it is constructive, you know.
Well, it certainly breaks up the flow of whatever momentum they get going when they commit a foul like that one. Here's Paxson. Goes to Bird, wants to post up Walker, fade away. No, front of the rim, and that's out of bounds.
That's probably the first weak shot selection that the Celtics have had, you know, from Bird, but that's his shot, that fall away, so for him it's not a bad shot.
We have a timeout by the Knicks. 8:24 left, second quarter. New York by 3. Back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. Celtics fans, how would you like to cruise with the Celtics? You can join the green and white when they set sail from Miami and the luxurious Sovereign of the Seas. This year's cruise departs on August 25th for 7 sun-filled days. To join the Celtics, call Four Seasons Travel at 617-890-7930. Patrick Ewing has been everything that he was supposed to be so far in this ball game. And the Knicks have a 3-point lead with 8:15 remaining. Kenny Walker, turnaround jump over Bird. Well, if the Knicks can get some contribution from Walker on the scoreboard, that will make a difference.
A strange stat. The Knicks have 26 points in their inside scoring. The Celtics only 8. Normally, obviously, this was the Celtics' strong point. Bird pulled that one back just a bit.
Reggie Lewis with just 2 points so far in this ball game. He has been red hot in this series, averaging 21 a ball game. Cheeks has Walker this time over Lewis. A good block, but body contact.
It's only the second team foul on the Celtics. The Knicks are up to 4, so the Celtics with 7.5 minutes left to take advantage of that.
Cousy, Reggie Lewis's defense over the last third of this season seems to be improving. What is he doing? Is it footwork or handwork?
I'm not sure, but all I can tell you is that Reggie is a different player over the last month and a half or so. Every facet of his game has reached the next level, you know, and where the poise all of a sudden has given him the confidence to go after people. He's putting it to the floor much more than ever before. He's always been the best penetrator the Celtics have had this year, but now he's doing it by design. He's picking his spots. He's effective with it rather than a little out of control. I mean, his entire game has been upgraded.
Knicks shooting 4 of 11 from the free throw stripe. Robert Parish across the timeline to Reggie Lewis. So the free throw shooting woes continue for New York. Dennis Johnson back. The bounce pass to Bird. Cross court to Lewis. Goes inside, off balance. So in and out. Tapped up. Battle on the boards. Ewing has it. Out to Tucker. Celtics back in good shape, however. Dennis Johnson on a mismatch down low momentarily with Ewing, but the Knicks cannot pick it up. Now they go inside. Bird steps in. Picks it off, and Ewing called for grabbing a hold of Larry.
Mark Jackson gets into the game for the first time. He was expected possibly to start tonight. He lost his starting position to Maurice Cheeks after Maurice came over from San Antonio. Jackson, having a very difficult year, has not adjusted to Stu Jackson's change in philosophy. His slowed down in half-court game. Functioned much better last year as in the up-tempo game.
Bird's first point of the second quarter. He has 12 now. Mark Jackson playing just 12 minutes a game in this series. 6 points, 4 assists. Was the rookie of the year in '87, '88, and an all-star the following year. He shot 34% in that rookie year from three-point land, Cousy, and his field goal shooting was down to about 34% this year.
Yeah, it was an amazing transformation. He made the all-star team, rookie of the year, the whole thing, and then just went into a funk this year. Just couldn't handle the new style of play.
Newman launches way long. Rebound. McHale. Bird had a step. Now Parish does. Runs it down, but cannot control it.
Yeah. You know, everything's going so well for the Celtics, it's hard to tell DJ not to make that pass because the guy in the right lane had taken the defender with him, so Parish's lane was open. Just couldn't quite run down that pass. Turnovers now 9 for the Celtics that have created 10 Knickerbocker points. Only 2 for the Knicks for 3 points.
Newman with McHale in his face. Ewing has the ball.
See, now they're standing around when Patrick gets the ball.
Shot is missed, but Walker knocks Dennis Johnson down, and then a block by McHale.
Fine defensive play. The Celtics continue to play with much more poise, Michael. Over the span of 48 minutes, that should work in their favor.
Here's Bird. Wants to go on Trent Tucker. Cuts inside. A little off balance. Got it. I'll tell you, that was a difficult jump shot by Bird that time.
I'll tell you, they're not trapping on Bird either. They're pretty much going at him one-on-one. And that was suggested in the paper today. Give Bird his points, but don't give him his passes. And evidently that's what they're doing.
22nd timeout, Knicks. Back to Madison Square Garden after this.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Brown.
Here's Bird on the last bucket, and that's not an easy shot. Off balance.
No, but he's got so many moves. He created that shot. See, once he felt the pressure on his back, he just kind of floated away with that long step. There's the McHale defensive play that triggered that last.
And that is the 8th block shot, I believe, unofficially by the Celtics tonight. 7, okay, 7 block shots by Boston so far. The Fu Manchu there by Kevin McHale. It wasn't that he didn't wash his face, folks. They're growing something, him and Joe Klein and Michael Smith momentarily. But I think they left Michael Smith way in the background in the hair department. Oakley back in the ball game. Kenny Walker, Ewing, Mark Jackson, and Tucker for 3. Home run, no. Ewing battling, got the rebound.
That's 9 offensive rebounds for the Knicks now.
Here's the work on the board again. It's loose and knocked out of bounds. That's got to be Boston ball. And it is.
Both coaches off the bench wanted that rebound.
Tucker has such a smooth-looking stroke, Coos, that time. It was surprising to see him miss that second shot.
That's his strength, the outside shot. He's got great three-point range. He is their best, the most effective three-point shooter.
Bird left-handed, no on the rebound, Ewing. He had Walker, and he wanted to move on him, but Kenny Walker forced him to hook left.
Yeah, we've talked about the lack of effectiveness on the offensive board by the Celtics, and there's one reason for that. Patrick Ewing, he moves in and just gobbles up everything.
Mark Jackson kicks it up loose. Oakley got the rebound, and Lewis fortunately picks up the loose ball. Cross court it goes to Bird. Celtics running now to Parish. Great pass, and Walker hammered him.
All the Celtics have to do is keep their cool. The second half, they're going to be able to gain control of this game. If it continues this way, as I say, the Knicks are hustling, but it's wild, out of control intensity like this play right here.
I'll tell you, Robert took the full brunt of this one. Great pass by Bird. Look at that. Ow! But Robert protected himself.
That's only the second miss for the Celtics. McHale had one.
Paxson had one also.
The third miss.
7 points for Robert Parish now. Averaged 18 a game regular season. He's picked it up a little bit. He's averaging 18 again here in the playoffs, but 13 rebounds a ball game for you. Robert in the 2 games against New York. Here's Ewing off balance. He was hit.
McHale tried to get down there to help, but I'm not sure he did. The foul is Parish's, and that'll be his third.
This was a problem with Robert the last time the Celtics played New York in a regular season game here when Ewing went for 51. Robert was battling foul trouble the whole night, and he still scored 51.
Well, that's why we were talking about the necessity to send the top down early, because there's no question the Knicks were going to focus on Ewing, who misses his third free throw.
3 of 6 from the line for Patrick Ewing. As you look at Robert Parish, 3 personals. 4:45 left here in the half. Ewing in and out again. So Knicks free throw shooting a real bugaboo right now.
So often when you get too high emotionally, that's what the result will be, is missed free throws, especially if you don't have a lot of pure shooters, which I think the Knicks only shot at about 75% for the year.
Here goes McHale. Try to go on Ewing now. Off balance, in and out. And on the rebound, it is going to be Joe Klein. Called for extra muscle.
And that'll be the 4th team foul now on the Celtics.
Kevin has really got his work cut out for him, working against Patrick Ewing. I'll tell you what. McHale being held right now, 7 points so far. And every shot is a real effort for him. Here's Wilkins, nearly lost it.
Nothing happening very smoothly for the Knicks.
Jackson off balance, puts it up. And Oakley will be called this time for charging to the offensive board.
I think Stu Jackson recognizes this offensive disarray that they're into. He's making some changes, getting Cheeks and Vandeweghe back in. Jackson just cannot, Mark Jackson just can't get anything going. And that's probably because he doesn't have the outside shot or the penetrating ability in a slowdown game. He can penetrate in the up-tempo that they had last year, and so as a result, you get stagnant offense when he's running the show.
Fans who watched the Knicks last year saw so many different types of shots from all over the court, and it seemed to flow much better out of that running offense. Tonight now slowed down to the half court. Knicks shooting down in the second quarter to 5 of 19, just 26%. So it's a real effort to get a decent shot off right now for New York, and that's with Patrick Ewing working effectively inside.
And it shouldn't improve in the second half either, Michael, because as the pressure increases, if it appears to seem, you know, they get closer to elimination, it's going to affect their shooting more and more.
1 of 2 for Bird, goes inside to Walker.
You don't miss too many of those. 5 points for Walker now. That was a good, strong power move, as you noticed.
You couldn't help it. Anybody underneath that hoop noticed it. I'll tell you what. Look at this. Good pass, too.
Yeah, he didn't take any chances. If he'd gone into McHale, he'd have had that rejected.
Celtics down by 2. They go to McHale. Off balance. No. Kevin with the fadeaway not working tonight.
Good defensive job by the Knicks that time.
Dennis got hit on a moving pick that time, and Cheeks nails a jumper.
Well, the insertion of Cheeks back into the lineup. A fine point guard over the years, has an immediate impact and effect on the Knickerbocker offense.
Dennis wants to post Cheeks up down low, but Maurice has him cut off. Shoves him outside. 6 on the shot clock. Bumps him. Shoots over him. Yeah.
Well, Steve done a job. He done a job tonight.
Not often does Dennis Johnson call his own play, but that time he did. Cheeks goes behind his back, tries to lay it up. Dennis blocked it, but he'll be called.
EJ was there. He responded nicely. Doesn't agree with the call.
We have a timeout here in New York. 2:57 left in the half. Knicks by 2. Back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. Kevin Costner knows too much. Gene Hackman has a lot to hide, and Sean Young is the woman they share. No Way Out, 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon on WLVI 56. And there's a Brooklyn Dodger fan, Spike Lee, a New York Knicks fan as well. Larry Bird had just 16 points in that 157-point explosion, Cousy, on Saturday afternoon. Tonight he has 15 already. Larry playing the decoy for the most part in the first 2 games of this series, apparently taking a little bit more initiative on the offensive end.
Celtics, as you can see, with a wide advantage on a free throw line. Yeah, you know, good players don't have a game plan going in. They allow the defense to dictate how they're going to play the game. The Knicks have decided evidently tonight to simply play him one-on-one, which cuts down the passing opportunities. When they start to trap him, then once again, in that sense, he'll become the decoy, not fight the pressure, and create opportunities for the others. So there's a reason for it.
8 points by Maurice Cheeks now. Under pressure, Bird inbounds to McHale, gives it back to Larry. 46-42, Knicks by 4 as Bird does a little jitterbugging there at half court.
A little Ali shuffle.
Learned that in that Zaire fight, I guess. Reggie Lewis now working on Wilkins. Blows by him. Takes it inside. Reverse. Oh, yes.
Is that nice? You know, we said Reggie was doing things by design and under control, and that was a fine example of it, because that layup after blowing by Wilkins wouldn't have shown on the strong side. He had to take it away from Patrick Ewing. Good job.
Celts within 2. Bird working on Vandeweghe now.
They said they had, if they were going to play Vandeweghe, they had to create 20 shots a game for him, because that was his strength. He would hurt them defensively. Otherwise, as an example of both, they created a shot that he missed, and then Bird took him to school on the other end.
Notice the little bump that time by Larry Bird to create a small space in order to get that shot off. Here's Ewing. We're tied at 46. His shot goes down.
Good job there.
28-46.
Turned up and faced, knowing Klein wasn't going to come out, and balanced up and really made a nice, easy shot for himself.
They leave Dennis open, and he hits it. I'll tell you what, Dennis Johnson is making them pay in this series. 10 points for DJ, and we're tied at 48. Minute 30 left, first half. Cuts off Cheeks. Now Wilkins and Lewis matchup. Klein shoving Ewing. Dennis dropping down on him. Has to shoot it over Klein. Wow. That looked easy, didn't it?
I'll tell you, the score is tied. The Celts are down 2, but the psychological advantage going into the locker room will belong to them. They've taken, in terms of hustle and intensity and aggressive play, the best the Knicks had to offer, and they're still well in the ball game with a good shot at it would appear at eliminating the Knicks in 3.
Here's Dennis Johnson left alone as Cheeks is running around down there in the paint, and Dennis makes him pay there. Larry Bird shot a glance over to Kevin, said, I wanted to dump it down to you, but you didn't break open quite enough time for me to get it to you, and I had to shoot it.
Wally Rooney notices something wrong with the 24-second clock that they're showing you. Jimmy Rogers isn't quite sure what Wally saw yet, I think. I'll tell you, there's a man that's taken his share of, I suppose, mild to a strong criticism this year, and has hung in tough, and now his philosophy, people are starting to give it the credit it deserves. And it's got to be very satisfying, because Jimmy never responded to the negative criticism. He just hung in tough, you know. Didn't have much to say. Kevin McHale has, in my judgment, of all the players, you know, said the right things, handled it with good common sense all season long, and up until today's quotes in the paper have been very positive in terms of the coach's contribution.
Madison Square Garden, New York City. Boston Celtics basketball here on WLVI 56. Mike Crispino and Bob Cousy along with you, and a stoppage in play as they try to square away the 24-second clock. And we'll be back to New York in just a moment. Comedy Wildman guru types on to kind of decipher what's going on here.
All will be known at halftime, Michael. Peter Vesey, ace, crack, basketball observant, columnist, alleged coach and general manager, will be with us to tell us what's wrong with the Knicks and what's in store for the future.
Wilkins blows by his man Walker on the offensive board.
And again, that facet of it continues to hurt the Celtics as New York continues to attack that offensive board.
Here's Paxson now working on Wilkins. Hands to Bird. Wants to go down to McHale, who sets the pick. There's the roll, but Vandeweghe stepped in beautifully. And Cheeks is looking. Corner jump from Wilkins. No. Ewing working, but Klein has the rebound.
Two people down floor, Bird and Paxson. Klein not able to extricate himself from the intense defensive pressure by the two Knicks.
Dennis shoots long. It's loose. And with 2 seconds left, Cheeks will have a chance at it. Puts it up. Cannot hit it. And we have come to the end of the first 24 minutes here. Game 3, Celtics and the Knicks. As Jimmy Rogers and company head to the locker room, down by 4. We'll be back with halftime activities in just a moment on the WLVI Celtics Network. Back at Madison Square Garden in New York City, Mike Crispino along with Bob Cousy. Celtics trailing 52-48 here at halftime. Larry Bird leading the way for the Celtics with 17 tonight, shooting 7 of 13, 10 from Dennis Johnson. For the Knicks, Patrick Ewing, 21 points, 15 rebounds on 9 of 20 shooting. And that's part of the reason the Knicks lead 52-48. All right, standing by courtside now, my colleague Bob Cousy with noted basketball guru Peter Vesey.
Thank you, Michael. Peter, I know you're a frustrated point guard. We might throw in
shooting guard.
No, shooting. Oh, shame on you. Might throw in general manager and I'm going to let you be everything tonight. What's wrong with the Knicks? If you're GM, who do you keep next year? Who do you let go? Who's on the block, etc.?
I'll say I think the biggest problem this year is that they had really a lot of trouble adapting to the new system. They didn't really have the players to go with the half-court offense that Al Bianchi instructed his new coach, his hand-picked coach with no experience, Stu Jackson, to play this year. You know, they had Gerald, Wilkins, and Johnny Newman and Mark Jackson, who were used to running and taking the three-pointers, and their lack of defense was camouflaged in that kind of, Rick Pitino's offense. So they really didn't accept it this year, and I think even though they won at the beginning of the year, I think that was basically by inertia from last year. They had all the points, they had all the players in the right spots. But then I think they made the biggest tragedy of all was when Strickland showed up in shape, Mark Jackson showed up out of shape. They gave the point guard job to Mark Jackson anyway. So that was a controversy right from the beginning that Strickland really couldn't accept. Now, the ironic thing is when they trade Strickland, which I was totally against.
Would you have let Jackson go? Or were you against bringing Cheeks, or the fact that it was...
Listen, I think that you got a guy in your second year who's got the talent that Rod Strickland has, should be a rookie this year, playing great for San Antonio since he went over there.
Jackson's young too, however.
No, I say keep them both. Look, they had the point guards of the future, supposedly. If you can't sit down with a Rod Strickland, explain the facts of life to him, give him some more money maybe, take him out to dinner once a week. That's what I would do.
So communication or lack of it, just
absolutely. I think they should have told him what the deal was. They did the last week of the before the trading deadline, and he wouldn't accept it. He said he wanted to be traded. So I think that was the biggest problem of all. Now they really don't have any assets that they can deal. You're asking me who they could deal after the year. I mean, you had your power forward, you had your center, Ewing and Oakley in place. You had 2 point guards, both young, both can play different styles in place. Now Mark's head is totally gone. His game is gone.
Yeah, he's a different player.
Right. He's making huge money. 1/8 this year, goes to 2/2 the next 3 or 4 years. They're locked in.
Sounds fair to me, Peter.
Yeah, exactly, right? What would you be worth today, Coos? I think Jerry West told me that when he came into the league as the second pick of the draft, he made $16.5.
Peter, we got to go. You gave me more money. You gave me a raise. Thank you. Always a pleasure to have you. Okay, we're going to be back with more halftime.
Mike Crispino and Bob Cousy back here at Madison Square Garden at halftime. Celtics trailing 52-48. And let me ask you this. You get out rebounded 32-20. You commit 10 turnovers. Yet you shoot 51%. You're down by 4. If you're the Knicks, after all that good work in terms of rebounding, and other things on the court, and you only have a 4-point lead. Are you concerned as Stu Jackson coach?
If I'm the Knicks coach, I'm greatly concerned because I've expended all that energy. I mean, this is in terms of intensity as well as the Knicks can play. It did reflect itself on the offensive board. You know, if they can continue to do that, that'll continue to pay dividends for them. But generally speaking, it's the Celtics half, you know, and if it continues this way, I think the Celtics will eliminate them in 3 games.
Knicks shot 42% from the field and just 40% from the free throw line, and that hurt terribly in the first half. We'll be back with more halftime activities here from Madison Square Garden after these messages on the WLVI Celtics Network.
Tonight's game is also being brought to you in part by 9X Mobile Communications, the Northeast leading cellular communications network. 9X Mobile, it pays for itself. Your local Sunoco dealers who offer you Sunoco Ultra 94. By Northwest Airlines, putting our minds to work for Boston. And by Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Mike Crispino and Bob Cousy back with you here at Madison Square Garden in New York, where the Knicks have a 4-point lead at halftime. Celtics led by as many as 7 in the first quarter. Knicks by as many as 6 in the second quarter, but neither team really established a superiority out there. Some of the shooting percentages first half, Bird was 7 for 13. Kevin McHale 3 of 8. Part of that was having to go up against Ewing, I thought, because Patrick did an excellent job on him.
No, I think that switch was effective in terms of McHale. Well, and Robert got off to a quick start. He made his first 3, but then he quieted down. Of course, he picked up the 3 fouls. That's the only individual area in terms of fouls the Celtics have problems with. Oakley has 3 on the Knicks.
To the Children's Health Center.
Knicks took 55 shots in the first half to 39 for the Celtics, and most of that differential coming from the offensive board. But the Celtics with 7 block shots, which is an excellent figure if you're Jimmy Rogers. You got to like that.
If I'm a Celtic fan, I'm happy with the first half despite the 4-point deficiency. Given the output and the work, and as we said, emotional and intensity level that the Knicks had to reach to accomplish what they did, they should have more than a 4-point lead, frankly, Michael. And it's affecting their shooting adversely. You know, they're shooting it at 41% and terribly from the free throw line, primarily because they're up so high, you know, that they've had very little luck in the perimeter. If Patrick wasn't having a gangbusters night in the paint, you know, and if they hadn't done a job on the boards, given their lack of efficiency at the free throw line, they'd be in serious trouble even at this point.
Our favorite word, turnovers. The Knicks only 3 in the first half for 5 points. The Celtics turned it over 10 times, and the Knicks turned that into 10 points. So if you're the Knicks right now, you've got to be kicking yourself a little bit not having made hay on that free throw line. 6 of 15. If you just went 12 of 15, you got a 10-point lead at halftime.
That makes the difference whenever you get 2 fairly evenly matched teams together, even during the season, but in the playoffs, even more so.
Underway, here's Reggie Lewis over Ewing in the rebound battle. That time, Charles Oakley knocked it loose to Cheeks on the pull-up jump for 2.
You got to pick Cheeks up early. He doesn't force the perimeter shot, but anytime you give it to him, he takes it, and unfortunately for the Celtics, he makes most of them.
Just 4 points in the first half for Reggie Lewis, and I would think the Celtics will try to get him more involved in the offense. Here's Robert trying to work on Oakley, lost control, got it back. Looks for help to Bird. 6 on the shot clock. Here's McHale now. Tries to work on Ewing. Fade away again. Not this time. Parish working the board. Nearly got his 4th foul, but he finally scoops it up. Banks it home.
A little assist from Reggie Lewis on the offensive board there. Kept it alive for a second opportunity for Robert Parish.
Here's Ewing. They'll want to get Parish in foul trouble early. Good job by Robert that time. And McHale clears the weak side rebound.
And I'm amazed New York talks about this half-court offense that they supposedly went to. It's non-existent. That means throw it into Patrick and 4 guys stand around and watch Patrick go one-on-one.
Great feed to McHale. Beautiful layup.
Outstanding.
Bird left-handed. He can pass with either hand, either foot, I think.
Off the dribble. No warning whatsoever. Knicks offense starting to fall apart.
Kevin and Bird on the defensive board that time, and the Celtics will have to improve in that area. They gave up a bundle of offensive rebounds in the first half. Here's Bird, wants to go by Vandeweghe, hands it to McHale, fakes the shot, now goes in, got the contact, and the foul on Ewing.
Celtics starting to take control of the game early in the second half.
That's his third.
It is, little screen and roll. Bird looks for the opportunity, takes it one step to clear the defender, allow time for McHale to fill that lane, and then a little left-hand scoop off the dribble.
And as one of the game's all-time great passers, you had to like the way Bird just looked him away. Didn't even give him a look.
Everything
That's
he does,
an important part of it.
Everything he does has a purpose, you know, in terms of creating an opportunity for himself or for the teammate.
And Kevin McHale makes it pay off, and the Celtics have tied it up at 54. Knicks had a 4-point lead at halftime, and the Celtics have tied it up immediately here in the second half. Inside it goes to Wilkins. Ball knocked loose by Kevin, and he is waving his hand around. One of those yank your finger back type jobs. Garden crowd is quiet considerably from the opening moments when they tried to get the Knicks off to a strong start. Oakley inside, over Bird, banks it in. 6 for Oakley, averaged 15 a game and 14 rebounds a game regular season against Boston. Coming back off a broken bone in his left hand in his 3rd game back. Bird posting up now on Vandeweghe. Can't get it off, but McHale's there. Fades over Ewing, in and out and in.
Yes, Kevin going to his fall away against the Ewing pressure.
56 all as Stu Jackson calls play number 4 out. Here's Oakley back on the other side with the banker over Bird. Oakley works him again. Bird nearly stole it. Has to give it up to Vandeweghe. Long jumper, no. Dennis Johnson rebound.
Vandeweghe with only 2 points tonight. He's averaging 12 against the Celtics in the 2 games.
Bird off balance. Oh! That was an afterthought.
Bird starting to put on a little bit of a show. I think he can sense that they've got control of the game despite the fact that it's only a 2-point differential.
Well, he came back with a little chuckle, so I don't know how that went in, but it went in, and now a rejection by Parish. Lewis running through the defense, off balance, no. But he drew the foul, and the Celtics bench is up.
Next foul charged to Gerald Wilkins.
Watch the little stutter step here.
And the team's second.
At the last minute, see, he's holding on to it as long as possible to see if anything better develops. Nothing, no passing opportunity develops. So he said, well, I might as well shoot this thing.
Reggie Lewis with the free throw. The Celtics have been near perfect from the line in this series. The best free throw shooting team in the NBA playoffs so far this year. Lewis now with 6. They'd like to heat him up. And certainly the Knicks must be concerned.
Yeah, Stu Jackson's got to be upset. The intensity is no longer there, and their offense is becoming stagnant.
And the Celtics have taken a 4-point lead with 8:52 left, 3rd quarter. Back from New York after this. Celtics fans, how would you like to cruise with the Celtics? You can join the green and white when they set sail from Miami on the luxurious Sovereign of the Seas. This year's cruise departs on August 25th for 7 sun-filled days. To join the Celtics, call Four Seasons Travel at 617-890-7930. Talk about sensational free throw shooting. 67 of 75 in these 3 games by the Celtics. That's 89%. Higher than their team record 83 established in the regular season. Out of the timeout, Oakley has the ball back to Cheeks. 7 on the shot clock. Has to put it up over Dennis and hit it. 12 points for Cheeks. He averaged 10 a game, 6 assists in the regular season. Celtic lead is cut to 2. 8:25 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Some clutching and grabbing here, and Patrick Ewing.
That'll be Patrick's 3rd, I believe. 4th foul, excuse me.
3rd on the team, and now a cause for concern for Stu Jackson as Dennis Johnson tries to back Cheeks in, puts it up, missed it, and Ewing has the rebound.
I don't think Stu Jackson can afford to get Ewing out of the game.
Corner jumper from Vandeweghe, and they've tied it up.
I think he's going to. He's got Eddie Wilkins at the bench to back up center, but I think that could be a mistake.
Back door to Bird, but it's deflected out of bounds. Oakley spied that one.
Yeah.
Somebody finally caught up to that play?
No, but DJ did it from too high, and also you got to pick your spots. When you get higher intensity defensively, that play won't work.
Kevin McHale
takes his eye off the ball, excuse me. He knew it too.
fumbled it. Patrick takes his first rest of the ball game with 4 personal fouls, 21 points, 15 rebounds so far. Tied at 60, 7:50 left, third quarter.
Possibly a big mistake by the rookie Knick coach.
Here's Wilkins, stolen by McHale. Outlets to DJ with Parish running on his left, Bird on his right. Pulls it up, down low. Lewis for 2.
Celtics with a good opportunity now to open up a little daylight offensively for the first time in this game, with Ewing on the bench.
Cheeks now tries to set something up outside the three-point line. Bird nearly stole it. Cheeks got it back. Shot clock down to 8. Here's Wilkins inside, left hand, missed it. And Reggie Lewis runs down the rebound, but Vandeweghe, in an attempt to outfight him, knocked it out of bounds.
Knicks offense in complete disarray. It's just one-on-one, no movement in the half court whatsoever. Here's the Lewis cut to the basket. Bird finds him with a pinpoint pass. Celtics have everything their own way at the moment.
But just a 2-point lead right now. 7 minutes remaining as they go down to McHale, and Eddie Lee Wilkins stepped inside, picked it off. They like him down here. An overachiever. Vandeweghe open, baseline jumper, missed it. And McHale has the board. Dennis Johnson now running. He's got Parish on his right. Goes up high to him. Back out to Dennis for the jump. And
yes, 2. DJ playing beautifully.
12 for Dennis Johnson.
Running a good show, taking the shots when they show from outside, keeping them honest, playing a good D on Cheeks. I'll tell you, if Vandeweghe isn't hitting, there's very little reason to have him in the game.
Oakley cut off by McHale, and an illegal defense here called. Larry Bird looks at Hugh Holland, says, "Nah, come on, Hugh, I was right here next to Vandeweghe."
There'll be fewer illegal defense calls made in the playoffs than during the regular season because the players work harder and more alertly to get back in position. You know, if they tap down, they don't get caught in the middle as often. They're simply hustling more in the playoffs. Johnny Newman in the ball game now. Wilkins off the pick, tries to go on Klein, cannot. 3 Celtics on him. Newman up fakes McHale, banks it in. 4 for Johnny Newman. We mentioned he can be an electrifying scorer when he gets it going. 64-62, Boston by 2. 6 minutes left, third quarter. Klein in the game for Parish now. Wants to work low on Oakley. Fadeaway jumper for 2. Klein hit 18 in a row in practice before this game. He was counting them from about that area. I'll tell you what, if they give Joe the position, he can knock that one home. Cheeks. Newman with a rebound, double team, put it up, missed it. Oh, what an offensive board by Wilkins. Well, that's another reason why, you know, a lot of people saying this team needs up-tempo because they don't have muscle rebounders other than Oakley and Ewing, and they claim that they would be more effective in an up-tempo game off both backboards, and that theoretically is true. Lewis posting up, got him the ball, but he couldn't hold it. Reggie Lewis. A break for the Knickerbockers. Lewis doing nice work establishing a position, but fans just a little over-anxious on the entry pass. Fans can sense now the Knicks need to regain control of this ball game. 66-64, Boston by 2. Newman open off the pick, banks it home. Celtic defense slackening off just a bit. Knicks taking advantage of it. Dennis Johnson against Cheeks here. 3-quarter pressure by Maurice. Dennis wants to go to McHale. Has it to him. Here's Wilkins again. Went for the steal, but the fans certainly appreciate that effort. Yeah, Wilkins just doesn't have the mobility to try that kind of a play. Celtics have called a timeout with the ball game tied at 66. 4:55 left, third quarter. Back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. Tomorrow night at 7, when a sexy neighbor is jilted by her hubby, she moves into the Bauer house and puts the moves on Tony. It's Who's the Boss on WLVI 56. Well, during the timeout, they handed out 17,000 handkerchiefs, Cousy, in a swift move, and suddenly the Knicks crowd is alive. It works. It's a wave of a different sort, but it's effective. It's gotten the crowd into the game. That can't do the Knicks any harm. Well, they brought one guy in from Brooklyn to start it off here underneath the Knicks basket. He worked the crowd pretty effectively, as you can see.
Fast break points, the Celtics with 21, the Knicks with 20 so far in this ball game. And whenever people talk about the Celtics, they're always talking about age, and you have to, I guess. And a guy like Parish has been around since '76. However, the Celtics look to have the young legs as Dennis Johnson hits another jumper.
DJ continues to burn them on the mismatches. They keep dropping off him, and he continues to make them pay.
I tell you what, he has regained a lot of respect in this playoff series so far. Cheeks now gives up the jumper, goes to Wilkins, wants to go on Lewis, off balance, has to give it to Maurice, and Dennis figured he's not going to do that, is he? Loose ball, and Klein out battles. Ahead to Bird. Double teamed, off to Dennis. Wants to shoot it again, he really feels it, but not this time.
Boston 8 for 11 from the field before that missed field goal.
Bird got a hand on Newman, and he'll draw a foul.
That's the second on Bird, and only the first on the Celtics in this quarter. The Knicks have 4.
4 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Celtics with a 2-point lead as Johnny Newman goes to the line. Strokes it in beautifully.
Newman, who is a shooter, as you can see from that release. See, the shooters won't be affected by the pressure of the moment, Michael. Generally, they'll keep their cool. For them, a 15-foot shot is a 15-foot shot, and it doesn't matter. They're going to be affected with it.
Just as Walker gave Stu Jackson a lift off the bench in the second quarter with 7, Newman's done the same thing here. Klein with a good move inside and a left-hander.
Very nice, anticipating the overreaction by Oakley. Klein just did an up and under.
Newman launches one. Front rim, Lewis rebound. Here's Reggie now. Tries to go by his man. Picked off. Oakley behind the back to Wilkins, and Dennis reaches in.
Good foul by DJ. As we told you, Celtics with only 1 team foul. DJ with only 1 on him individually. Watch, here's the steal. Who was it? Newman comes in from behind. Oakley with a
Wilkins,
not the highest percentage behind the back pass. I'm sure that got Stu Jackson's attention.
John Bagley for Dennis Johnson with 3:25 left. Third quarter, Celtics by 2. So Cheeks and Bagley will match up. Inside it goes. Wilkins fouled by Lewis. Reggie is really on the ball, isn't he?
Absolutely. Reggie's doing a beautiful job defensively. He fouled him that time, but not before giving him a half a yard of brief and intensive.
Half a yard, huh? That's a lot.
Inside, absolutely, because he was using that much space to keep Wilkins from getting inside. Good job.
Well, he got his hand on the ball twice in an offensive player's move, and that's not easy to do. Wilkins, just 5 points now for him. Paxson in the ball game for Reggie Lewis as Wilkins shoots the second and misses it badly off the front rim. So the Celtics maintain a 1-point lead, 70-69, with 3:10 remaining here in the third quarter. Bagley picks up the dribble, hands it to Paxson, gets it back now outside to Bird. Under pressure from Newman. 6 on the shot clock. They'll need something quickly. They go to McHale, and this time McHale's called for a foul.
Well, good defensive job by the Knicks that time, and it paid off for them. They got the Celtics down to 5 or 6 seconds. There's the lob entry pass. It sure looked like it might have been the other way.
15 Celtic turnovers, just 4 for the Knicks so far. Cheeks looking down low. Now back out to Newman. McHale matches up on him. Here's Wilkins. He is hit by Paxson. Got his own rebound. Missed the jam. And the rebound, Oakley. Into Bird and count it.
Well, you know, again, sheer unadulterated hustle and intensive rebounding on the part of the Knicks pays off for them. Wilkins completely out of control, just went in there, banging bodies, really taking, look, there it is, just bounces off Paxson, takes a bad shot, but the quick follow-through creates a second one, and Oakley keeps it alive. So this is where it's paid off for the Knicks on the offensive boards in the turnover department.
And they have the lead, 72-70, a three-point play by Charles Oakley. All this with Patrick Ewing on the bench with 4 fouls. Ewing is on his feet at the end of the Knicks bench right now, cheering his teammates on. Here's Bird, wants to post up Newman. That's a fadeaway jump from him for 2. Bird with 21 now.
72.
Tied at 72. Wilkins wants to go offensively, and he is fouled.
And that'll be the 3rd on McHale. Selleck's now over the limit as well. Team's foul.
Kevin with that quizzical look for Wally Rooney. And it'll send Eddie Lee Wilkins to the line. 6'10", 220 pounds.
What he lacks in skill, he makes up for in hustle and work ethic, and that's why he's been able to hang around as long as he has in this level of play. There's always room for big, strong 6'10", 6'11 people, you know, who are willing to work hard at it.
Believe it or not, he's a big fan of long-distance running. Does a lot of it in the off-season. Can you imagine seeing that in the park? 6'10". I'd let him pass me. 74-72. The Knicks have the lead. And a steal. Cheeks ahead, but it's deflected by Bagley.
Cheeks, year after year in the top 5 in
there's Ewing.
Steelers.
Patrick Ewing
in, doesn't he?
does a little cheerleading on the bench as the Knicks need some emotional uplifting right now. Eddie Lee Wilkins has given it to him.
Well, who's going to play center? They've got all forwards. Oakley, I guess, will be on Klein or Walker.
Bagley and Cheeks, Walker and Bird really doing battle down low.
They're trying to flash people inside. And Klein gets caught.
Klein and Oakley tangle, and Joe Klein is called.
Yeah, the 2 defenders, Bird and Klein in this case, doing everything they can to deny the inside position. Jimmy Rogers, who looks like, well, here it is, Klein and Oakley involved in a little wrestling match. Klein
well, if the Bruins are watching tonight, they'll say, that's mild, that's nothing. We see that all the time.
Well, as the Knicks get closer and closer to elimination and the game is close, it's going to become more and more physical. So hang in. It's one of those games where, you know, you can win the battle and perhaps lose the war in terms of getting people hurt. So I'm sure this is something Jimmy's got to be concerned with.
Oakley now coming alive from the free throw line. He's got 7 in the quarter, 11 overall. Doing a fine job on the offensive board. Here's Lewis blowing by. Got the foul call. Couldn't get it to go down.
Slashing penetration by Reggie Lewis. But now he's doing it under control. You know, he's exploding out of the block. But as he gets to the traffic underneath, he's picking his spots and making sure he creates the opportunity.
You know, it's amazing and difficult for a guy making that kind of a penetrating move. He has control till the very last moment.
And this is very necessary. You get people, I remember Tiny Archibald, you know, who played for me. He had such explosive speed, could get by anybody, but he'd run into people. He was so, his speed worked against him, you know. He wasn't under control when he got by that first line.
And we see that at times from Mark Price, the Cleveland Cavaliers guard.
Although it should be noted, by the time Tiny got to the Celtics, he did a nice job and had learned this part of the game.
Here's Wilkins trying to work on Paxson, who cuts him off. 3 in the shot clock. He'll need something quick. Puts it up. Hit it. At the buzzer, basically. Big basket by Gerald Wilkins.
Nice job. He kept bumping off Paxson. Paxson with pretty good defense was keeping him outside, but he finally did his 360 off the Paxson pressure.
Bird up fakes Walker. Now has the shot. Hit it.
Bird shooting beautifully.
23 for Bird. 24 points for Bird. Inside, Cheeks knocked loose.
Good job by Bagley. Cheeks rolled off him and got in there, but Bags hung into the play and got a hand on the ball.
Bagley, Paxson, Lewis, Klein, and Bird right now for the Celtics. Oakley and Klein doing a little jawing, face to face.
Well, I'll tell you what, Oakley may think he's tough, and I'm sure he is, but...
oh, he called a technical on Klein. Explain that.
They were in each other's face. What does that mean? Klein used more offensive language than Oakley? That's unusual, you know.
Ed Rush, I don't know if he was listening in with one ear there to find out who said which four-letter word or not, but he nailed Klein.
I was going to say, Joe Klein's next four-letter word would be his first, probably. You know? I mean, Joe looks mean and tough, but his demeanor, let's see what precipitated that. There's Klein and Oakley just kind of jabbing at each other.
That has brought the crowd back in it. Here's Wilkins, cut off by Klein now. Oakley and Paxson. Wilkins wants to go inside into Jimmy Paxson. No foul call. Joe Klein with a rebound and a good one. Reggie Lewis running. Finds Bird.
Bird 10 for 16 from the field.
Inside Lewis. Beautiful move. Count it.
Outstanding.
And Joe Klein gives a physical punch to the Madison Square Garden crowd.
See, when the defense gets this intense, Michael, this is where opportunities like this for a slashing drive for the basket will open up for someone with Lewis's talent.
And you have to like the way he hung in there when he got hit, because he definitely got hit. Celtics have hit 12 of 16 in the third quarter, 75%. We're tied at 79.
9 points now for Lewis here in the quarter, 13 for the game.
Cheeks and Bagley. Maurice wants one shot. 6 on the shot clock. Here's Wilkins inside, left hand, missed it, tapped up, no good. Newman at the buzzer, it will not count. Oh, it will count.
Well, the Knicks continue to do a fine job on that offensive board.
Oh, Bagley nearly nailed it. So Newman's tip with 2 seconds remaining has given the Knicks a 2-point lead going to the final 12 minutes, and we'll be back for it here at Madison Square Garden. Fourth quarter, and it's time for the Miller Lite Channel 56 fourth quarter shootout. Tonight's entry from Derek Brosette, who lives in Shrewsbury, Mass. And Derek counting on Robert Parish, who busts out of the Celtics huddle there, and he will come to the scorer's table and check in. So, Derek, let's see what happens here. If you're right, color TV and a Celtics jacket, courtesy of Miller Lite and Channel 56.
Well, Patrick with 4, Robert Parish with 3. Will attempt to stay in for as long as they can in the last quarter. Both coaches going with their strength.
Stu Jackson has to be happy, though. That third quarter, Ewing did not score a point, and his team took a 2-point lead.
Hey, I'm
goes right inside. Power move by Ewing, 23 for him now. 4-point Knick lead. Full court pressure by Newman on Bagley.
I still like the Celtics' chances. The Knicks have taken 80 shots to only 56 for the Knicks. That's because of turnovers, 16 to 4, and offensive rebounds, 21 to 2. So with that huge advantage and only a 4-point lead, that's got to make the Celtics momentarily happy.
Ewing and a foul on Parish. 4 on the Chief.
Both centers with 4 fouls now.
Tell you, he's come back with plenty of energy.
There's the move. Just a little roll move into Parish. He goes for the block. Ewing still not able to hit his free throws.
4 of 10 in the first game against the Celtics. Tonight he's missed 5 of them. By my count, 3 of 8. 3 of 8 from Patrick Ewing.
How did he shoot for the season?
Shot him at 76%. 1 of 2 there. 5-point lead for the Knicks. This is their biggest since the second quarter. 11-10 remaining. Oakley goes for the steal. Here's Reggie now. Pulls it up. In a little trouble. Out to Paxson. To DJ. Corner to McHale. Wants to put it up. Cannot do it. Dennis up fakes his man, goes through, a ball knocked loose, and they'll have 1 second.
Well, I'll tell you, Jimmy can't wait with Bird for too long.
Bird gets set to check in right now.
Our Boston number 33, Larry Bird is replacing Jim Paxson.
You notice with Bird's passing game not in there, they were able to.
He hit it.
Oh, they're going to call it back, but he's saying the inbounds pass, Bird to McHale, hit the paint.
Jimmy Rogers appealing that time to Ed Rush, who was on the baseline. He did not call it, but Hugh Hollins did.
That might have been a three-pointer, too.
And it looked like a three. 10:40 remaining. Here's Newman. Dishes to Ewing. Patrick has come alive. 5 in the quarter now. 26. Celtics need a TO. And the Garden crowd on their feet. New York's biggest lead since the second. We'll be back. Back at Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks have exploded out of the gates here in the fourth quarter, and one of the key plays right here.
Did it go out of bounds first? I'll tell you, it looks clearly inbounds on the replay.
McHale hit a three-point bucket, and back on the other side, Patrick Ewing hammered one down. So a 5-point play there for the Knicks, and they have a 7-point lead as Dennis Johnson backs it in on Maurice Cheeks. Parish, Bird, McHale, Lewis, and Dennis Johnson for the Celtics. Here's Bird over Newman, off balance, missed the shot. Robert tries to run it down, but Wilkins picks it off.
Knicks on fire emotionally.
Wilkins tries to go inside. Bird nearly stole it. Oakley gives it up, and they'll set it up again. Ewing wants it. Has it. Spins. Double teamed. Missed. McHale has the rebound. Goes down hard, so it's 4-on-4 basketball right now. Down to Robert. Inside on Ewing. Ball stolen. Gerald Wilkins. Gave it up, and it's stolen by McHale out to Robert Parish.
What happens when shooters become passers? In the playoffs, guys who haven't thrown a pass all year all of a sudden think they're point guards, but if they don't have the talent to do it, they can get in trouble. Bird on a little pick and roll with Parish that works so effectively against the intense defensive pressure backfires.
Celtics are scoreless in the fourth quarter. 9:25 remaining. Cheeks cut off by Dennis Johnson. Now Ewing wants to go inside. Does. Drew some contact. No foul call. Celtics ball.
Ewing knows Parish has 4, so Robert can expect the big guy to take it to him every time now in the paint.
Celtics with 2 shots, 3 turnovers in the first 3 minutes of this fourth quarter. And the Knicks lead is 7. Got to go down low. Here's McHale. Wants to go on Ewing. Inside. He's hit twice. And he'll get the 2 free throws.
I think it'll be on Cheeks.
Foul called on Maurice Cheeks.
Foul charged to Maurice Cheeks. His second and the team's first.
Here's Bird using the weak side pick. Frees up momentarily. Goes back to try it again, but by then they've got it into McHale.
And a jacket only for Derek Brosette, who lives in Shrewsbury, Mass. Thanks for playing the Miller Lite Channel 56 fourth quarter shootout as Kevin McHale has the first Celtic point of the fourth quarter. And he has the second also. 15 for McHale. Celtics are back within 5. Don't forget, directly following our broadcast of Celtics basketball, the news at 10. Back in Boston with Jack Hines, Darlene McCarthy, Ron Harris, Walt Perkins. Catch you up on all that's happening in the world as Robert Parish rips off Ewing.
Again. Beautiful.
Watch out from behind. Dennis Johnson hands to Lewis. Wants the shot. Dennis hits it.
Yes. Celtics creating some turnovers of their own now. That's what happens when a shot-oriented team decides to look for the pass instead of the shot.
Celtics back within 3. 8:30 left. We'll be back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. Tomorrow night at 7:30, Harry and Bull rehearse a new magic act, and Bull loses his head on Night Court here on WLVI 56. One of the great ones.
Yeah, the man who dominated this league before, pre-Bill Russell. He was the dominant big man, a great one. Looking pretty fit for his tender age.
Part of the HBO special on the history of the NBA, along with my partner here, and it's a beauty if you get a chance to take a look at it. You want to catch up on how it all started and where it's gone. Some of the greats involved in that one. Good production, too. Here's Ewing, baseline, in and out, rebounded by Lewis.
Again, they're concentrating on Ewing, and Robert responding to the challenge, not giving the guy anything easily. And with 4 fouls, Robert's got to be a bit careful.
Down to the 8-minute mark. McHale working baseline. Traveled again.
Well, the miscues continue to plague the Celtics, and that time it wasn't really caused by defensive pressure.
Well, I got to believe that Kevin's looking over his shoulder just a bit with Ewing standing behind him.
Hey, it makes a difference.
Even the great ones.
The turnovers are 20-6 now.
Newman fakes Parish off his feet, then goes hard to the board, and he's fouled. Let's see where the call is.
See, at this point, Michael, every move, every offensive move by both teams has to be aggressive. It has to be into the paint, off the dribble like this. See, don't settle. Newman had the 15-footer. Don't settle for that, because every basket now obviously becomes significant, and you can't lose an opportunity with an outside shot that just misses, you know, whereas if you take it in, the shot didn't go, but he's getting to the line instead. So every player's got to be aware of this, exercising this option now.
Newman, who shot him at 73% from the charity stripe during the season now. Perfect tonight, 5 of 5. So the lead back to 5, 7:40 remaining. Lewis works on Wilkins. Back to Dennis Johnson. Now outside to Bird. Puts up the jumper. Missed it. Out long, rebounded Cheeks, and he's running. Holding up now, has Newman on the right side. Wants to go on Bird. Triple teamed into the pack. Oakley got the rebound, and he's fouled. So a break for the Knicks there.
See, Oakley's made a couple of those spectacular falling down shots, but that's not what he's looking for. He throws his body around with reckless abandon when he gets into this kind of a situation here. Newman, you know, by mistake gets it to Oakley, but he knows the result of it generally is he's going to pick up a foul by creating so much havoc in the paint there.
13 points, 11 rebounds for Charles Oakley.
Is that on McHale, by the way?
McHale's 4th, I believe.
That's his 4th. Okay.
3 team fouls on the Celtics, 1 on the Knicks. Celts have 3 timeouts remaining, as do the Knicks. And both teams have a 20-second timeout as Oakley's free throw goes in and out.
I'll tell you, if the Knicks lose a close one, there won't be any secret as to why they lost it. Terrible percentage from the line in a critical game for them.
The Garden was not sold out tonight here at Madison Square until walk-up bought them all up. 18,202 on hand. The Knicks fans perhaps smelling an encore if they can get by the Celtics here tonight and force a 4th game. It's a 6-point New York lead, 89-83 with 7:15 remaining. Dennis Johnson to Parish. Nearly stole it. Now Lewis. He nearly lost the ball. He's double teamed outside to McHale. Puts up the jump shot, and no. Oakley has the rebound.
And full court pressure pays off for the Knicks, and that it created an off-balance wild shot.
Here comes Wilkins. Wow, what a shot, but nothing but air.
I'll tell you, if they keep Wilkins in the game, I think the Celtics have a shot.
Here's Reggie. Hands to Bird. Wants to put up a 3. No. And Ewing has the board. So the Celtics long-range bombing not working right now. And time running down. 6:40 left.
Wilkins kind of a loose cannon out there. Hasn't produced that many positive things. McHale picks up his 5th and unnecessary foul in the sense that it was outside. And Oakley obviously not a shooting threat from 23 or 4 feet.
And certainly that far away, no sense in this foul. Kevin trying to pick up the aggressiveness, but
well, Kevin, I think a little frustrated because of a couple of recent turnovers, wanted to make up for it.
Ewing picks him off. Newman tries to go to Ewing, and Robert Parish knocked it out of bounds. 10 seconds on the 24. 6:17 remaining. The Knicks still struggling with the half-court offense.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was just going to make that observation. They're ahead by 6, but I'll tell you, everything is a struggle for them. Partially because of the Celtic defense, but partially because of their own ineffectiveness.
This time Oakley rather, 6 times on the board, it seems like. Finally, they've got a loose ball foul on Larry Bird.
Bird picks up his 3rd, and that'll be the 4th team foul, so the momentum has turned once again. Now heavily in favor of the Knickerbockers. 4th foul on Bird, excuse me. So the entire front line for Boston in foul difficulty. Parish with 4, McHale with 5, Bird with 4.
And the Celtics not getting a lot of help off the bench tonight in terms of scoring power. So Wilkins. Here's a look at what happened here. Again, the offensive board. Look at him keep it alive. Oakley 2, 3 times, 4 times had his hands on it. Finally, Wilkins got it. And Wilkins knocks them both down. Biggest lead of the ball game for New York. 91-83 with 6 minutes remaining.
Plenty of time, however.
Celtics offense has been stagnating here in the 4th quarter. Just 4 points for them. Bird works on Newman. He's fouled and he hit it.
Yes. Bird responding to the moment. Celtics wanted to go to their go-to guy all the way. Isolated him inside on Newman.
Bird will go to the line. He has 26 points. Take a look.
There it is. They swing McHale outside. That gets Patrick momentarily out of the fray. He tries to get back in, but not before Bird launches successfully.
Celtics call a timeout. They have 2 remaining, and we'll be back for the final 5 minutes, 50 seconds here at Madison Square Garden after these messages.
And save on select Kendall motor oils. With a $3 manufacturer's rebate, your sale price is just $12.99 per case. Foreign Auto Parts. 20 locations open 6 days a week and now until 7 on Thursdays. Quality parts for every import. For over 33 years, Foreign Auto Parts.
Mike Crispino and Bob Cousy here with 5:50 remaining in the ball game. The Knicks with a 6-point lead at 91-85. Should Larry Bird and the Celtics survive tonight and end up sweeping the Knicks, the Celtics would play their next playoff game Sunday afternoon in Detroit against the defending world champions. And should a 4th game be forced, it would be back here in New York on Friday night on Channel 56. 8 o'clock start as Bird goes to the line, tries to finish off a 3-point play and does. 27 for Larry, back within 5. Oakley goes baseline to Ewing. Wants that left-handed hook off balance. Oh, that's beautiful.
Again, Robert does all that is humanly possible against Patrick Ewing, who has been immense tonight.
28 for Ewing. Bird was set to tee it up for 3, but he hands it to McHale. I'll tell you, Ewing has been very effective at shutting down McHale inside. An illegal defense call here by Wally Rooney.
There's been 1 on each team. Now here's they're posting Robert up, Ewing up on the right side that time, so he swings in with his left. Robert forces him to fall away, but he makes a nice shot.
So the next illegal defense called on either team will result in a technical foul. Bird working on Newman now. Fadeaway, long jump shot. Yeah!
Wow.
And a tough one at that.
Tough one there. Celtics look like they're focusing in isolation now on Bird on Newman.
Again, the 24-second shot clock did not start immediately, and Hugh Hollins immediately whistled it. So they chip a couple of seconds off it. It's a 93-88 Knick lead with 5:03 remaining as Hugh Hollins and Wally Rooney get back to the 24-second shot clock operator and say, hey, kick that thing as soon as we take it in.
Things like that aren't supposed to happen in the Big Apple, right? With the,
only in Boston, I thought.
Commissioner and Ryan Gumbel and Spike Lee and George Mikan, everybody here. Lou Shulman. And,
all the bigs, all the wheels. Oakley, oh, great pass down low to Wilkins.
That was nice. Bird went for the steal. Oakley made him pay. Nice pass.
Dennis Johnson calling a play here. McHale sets a pick high, now goes back down low. Bird spinning out, looking for help.
Knickerbocker defense forcing the Celtic half-court out further than they'd like to be.
Kevin's got to work on Ewing. Tough matchup. Fade away, headed at the buzzer.
Wow, what a play. Over Ewing.
Big bucket by McHale. 5-point lead again.
Cheeks comes down shaking his head saying, I don't believe that shot.
Oakley wants Wilkins on the baseline. Hands it to Ewing. Jump shot over Parish. Not this time. Oakley over Lewis. Got away with one, but Reggie had position in the rebound. Bird trying to work on Newman. Does. Uses his arm. Throws a hook up. In and out. McHale tapping. Parish got the board, and he's fouled.
Big offensive rebound. Celtics hanging on that board tough when they have to, as badly as they've been beaten in that category tonight. That's the fourth foul. Here it is. Bird again. Isolating on Bird. Almost knocks it down. McHale responds, followed up closely by Parish.
The key was keeping it alive that time for young rebounders out there. If you cannot get both hands on it, just kick it back up there and see if a teammate can latch onto it. 11 for Parish now. Under 4 minutes left, and it's a 3-point game. New York 95, Celtics 92. Wilkins dumps to Newman, who's got Parish over him. Rebound Bird. Wants Robert way ahead. Home run, but Newman got back on defense. Here's Wilkins. Gives to Cheeks. Got it back. Left hand miss. Parish rebound, and he's stolen from him, but a foul call.
Wilkins continues to self-destruct out there. This is a key layup there. That could very well turn it around for the Celtics here, folks.
Bird put a little deke on him that time, as if he was going to try to block it, then didn't throw his arms up. That can throw the rhythm off for a shooter, I would think. 3-point game, 3:15 remaining. Dennis goes to Bird. Wants to launch one. No. Parish kicked it out, but Cheeks got it. And he's running. They'll set it up. He's looking for somebody. Hands it to Oakley, who now has 5 fouls. Here's Ewing. Spin move and a beauty.
Oh, boy. Patrick Ewing rises to the occasion. The big guy has been immense tonight. And believe me when I tell you, Parish has done a fine job defensively. That time he reels to the baseline. The help was coming from on top, so Robert didn't quite close off that baseline quickly enough.
31 for Ewing, 18 rebounds.
If you know you're getting the help from on top, you've got to immediately shut off that outside move.
Celtics need a bucket here. They go to Dennis, who's inside, tries a reverse. He's hit, no foul call. Wilkins has it. He's running, goes all the way. No, McHale had the board. Back out to Reggie. Lewis pulls up, knocks it down.
Yes. Again, the Wilkins miss on a layup keeps the Celtics' hopes alive.
15 for Lewis. 2:15 remaining. It's Ewing and Parish now. And the Knicks need a timeout. 2:14 left as Dennis Johnson ducks into the little conversation between Cheeks and Ed Rush. We'll be back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. 98-94, Knicks by 4 with 2:14 remaining. Both teams have 2 timeouts and a 20. Celtics with 5 team fouls, Knicks with 4. And the Knicks will inbound it. Johnny Newman right in front of our broadcast table with McHale on him.
Might be a good spot to keep the Knicks off the scoreboard if they can.
Let's see what Stu Jackson has called out of that huddle. It's Newman on McHale, wants to work him. Behind the pick, throws it up off the top of the backboard, and Oakley just fouled out.
Wow. Is that what they needed a timeout for?
Tell you what.
I can't believe that what they went to. Let's see. Newman in the corner. Looks like they told him to just work McHale one-on-one.
Charles Oakley fouls out with 14 points and 13 rebounds. A major factor in the Knicks' lead so far, particularly on the offensive board. He was a monster. Now with 2:02 left, they'll have to go without him, and Kenny Walker will replace him.
Walker is a leaper, but doesn't command the presence and respect, obviously, that Oakley does, especially coming down the stretch here.
Bird with 30 now as Charles Oakley shakes his head. Bird has them both. You can almost bank those. 31. It's a 2-point ball game. You see the clock right there.
Well, they don't have any choice now. They've got to go to Ewing.
Let's see if he gets help. Parish all alone, wants to go on him. Great defense, blocked it.
Robert, fine defensive play.
Celtics looking to tie. Here's Bird, he wants Parish. The spin move. Missed the shot and Walker got the rebound. .125 left.
Nobody wants it.
Ewing has it, hook shot.
But Patrick wants it.
And he has it. Timeout. Ewing and the Knicks by 4. Back in a moment for the final moments. A minute 21 seconds remaining here at Madison Square Garden, and Patrick Ewing has lifted the Knicks to a 4-point lead, 100-96. Just an average night for him, 33 points, but it's a career playoff high. So he's saving his best for the Celtics. 51 was his regular season high, and we saw that earlier this year.
Yeah, he's been immense, and in a lot of ways, tonight's production has been more meaningful, obviously because of what it means in the game, but also in terms of his boards and defense.
Here's Bird, wants to work on Walker, cannot. Dennis Johnson has the jump shot, followed through beautifully for 2.
Boy, his GJ Dennis Johnson, I'll tell you what.
18.
Knicks call a time.
And an immediate timeout by the Knicks, a minute 8 left. Celtics within 2. Back with more on the WLVI Celtics Network. A look at the Eastern Conference playoffs as they stand. The Pistons with a sweep of the Pacers. The Celtics trying to finish off New York here. Cleveland bouncing back strong last night against the Sixers. And the Milwaukee Bucks still alive against the Bulls. So 3 teams with hopes of reaching the semifinals, trying to finish it off.
Boston shooting it at 53 for the game. And New York at only 40%, but they've taken 27 more shots and yet only made 1 additional field goal out of those 27 shots. So,
well, it's a credit to the offensive board work, that's for sure. They've been knocking it loose all over the place.
Let's see, they called a timeout to set up a Newman top of the backboard shot a moment ago. Let's see what happens here.
It's Ewing, fade away, no, rebounded by Lewis. 48 seconds left, 2-point lead for the Knicks. Robert with excellent defense that time. Here's Bird, wants to go down to McHale. Now they set it up. Nobody cutting, they're watching McHale here. Out to Dennis, 18-footer, no. Lewis high for the rebound, no foul, now a foul.
Reggie Lewis with the big offensive board when needed. And I'll tell you, if it goes to overtime with Oakley out of the game, that's got to give Celtics an advantage. The 5th foul on Ewing.
And you got to love the position of Reggie Lewis that time. Reggie goes to the line, misses the free throw.
Well,
that hurt.
Kind of a big miss.
28 and 7/10 seconds remaining. 2-point lead for the Knicks. Lewis facing all of that has the second one. A 20-second timeout, Knicks. And we'll be back in just a moment to Madison Square Garden.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Broderick, and Rutger Hauer share the adventure of a lifetime in Lady Hawk, 8 o'clock Thursday night on WLVI 56.
Each team has a regular timeout, and the Celtics have a 20-second timeout as we play the final 28 and 7/10 seconds. The Knicks with a 1-point lead of 100-99. First free throw by Lewis this time.
I'll tell you what, the Celtics have have been exceptional from the free-throw line again. So, yeah, that doesn't make Patrick unhappy, obviously. You know, it's fine to call timeouts in these situations, and they're necessary, and the coaches have to lay out their strategy. But sometimes that can backfire. When you call a timeout in this situation, it gives you a chance to say what you want to do, but I'll tell you what, it gives the defense an excellent opportunity also.
Full court pressure, double teamed on Cheeks. Walker has it now, and Wilkins controls back to Cheeks. 18 on the shot clock, 21 on the game clock.
3 seconds, so they'll run it down as low as possible.
It's a 1-point ball game. Cheeks. Larry Bird jumping out, forcing Wilkins now. Corner jump from Walker over McHale. Hit it! And a timeout immediately by the Celtics. Kenny Walker, over McHale's outstretched arm, has given the Knicks a 3-point lead, and we'll be back to Madison Square Garden after these messages. 7 6/10 seconds remaining. New York by 3. Cousy, what do you expect they'll do?
Well, if I'm New York, I want to foul on the inbounds pass. I want to send the Celtics to the line. I got the best, the most powerful rebounder in the game in Patrick Ewing. So even if they make the first free throw and miss the second one on purpose, I got to figure that Ewing's going to get me the rebound. If I'm the Celtics, if they don't do that, obviously I'm looking for the 3-point play. I wouldn't go for the 2.
Celtics had shot 21 of 25 free throws, 14 in a row, and then Reggie missed one, made the second, and that's the 3-point differential after Walker's jump shot. Inbounds to Dennis. They set it up to Bird. Up fake, and the 3, no. Parish got the rebound, put it up, missed it.
Bird had it. I'll tell you what, Knicks got lucky. Bird faked Cheeks right by him and had the wide open 3-pointer.
And the New York Knicks have survived Game 3. They are alive, holding the Celtics to 20 points in the 4th quarter and winning it 102-99. We'll be back to New York to wrap it up, but now let's go to Jack Hines and Darlene McCarthy to find out what you'll be seeing in tonight's news.
Thanks, Mike, and good evening from Boston. Topping our news.
Back at Madison Square Garden, where the Celtics have fallen 1 3-point shot from Larry Bird short of eliminating the New York Knicks. 102-99, and a real tribute to the Knicks' desire tonight on the boards. Immense work from Ewing and Oakley. 32 rebounds. They out-rebounded the Celtics' entire front line of McHale, Parish, and Bird.
Now, well, you know, give them credit, absolutely. Every basketball observer within a 3,000-mile radius expected them to come out like Tigers. We told you on top that was what was going to happen. They couldn't absorb 4 days of the kind of abuse that the Knicks had to put up with without responding. Players don't reach this level in professional sports without having a great deal of pride. They were humiliated, and absolutely they responded to that challenge beautifully, got the job done. That's what won the game for them, albeit it was not pretty to watch. But the rebounding did the job. The turnovers, they out-rebounded them on that offensive board, wiped them out, created 26 additional shots for themselves. They didn't really exploit that because they didn't shoot it well. But we've got to give the Celtics some credit. I'll tell you what, if you're a Celtic fan and you're wondering whether the Celtics are going to go forward, they'll be in Detroit next week. This team is not going to beat them on Friday again. But for tonight, you know, the Knicks deserve A for hustle, intensity, rebound work.
After giving up 157 points at Boston Garden on Saturday afternoon, a real tribute to their defensive work, too, holding the Celtics to 99. Back with more in just a moment on the WLVI Celtics Network. So the season is extended for 2 more days, at least for the New York Knicks, as they force Game 4, beating the Celtics 102-99, 31 points for Larry Bird, and I'm sure he's sitting in that locker room right now saying, if I only had 34, we'd still be playing.
It's funny the way that broke. The Knicks obviously, you know, just played them straight up and were not going to foul, and then, as it turned out, it worked into the Celtics' hands. Bird You know, Cheeks went at him. He faked them by, and he had the open three-pointer. It just didn't go down.
Patrick Ewing with 33 carried him in the fourth quarter, and he has helped the Knicks stay alive for at least one more game. That'll do it for us here in New York. Be sure to join us for Game 4 of the NBA East first round, live Friday night at 8, right here in New York, when the Celtics try to wrap it up and move on to the conference semifinals. For my partner, Bob Cousy, this is Mike Crispino saying goodbye from Madison Square Garden. Tonight's Celtics playoff telecast, produced by Lou Schumann. Once again, our final score here in New York, Knicks 102, Celtics 99. Stay tuned next for the news at 10. Late edition coming up next right here on Channel 56. Good night, everybody.